your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Texas Tech released a depth chart yesterday, Jamie, for the offense, the defense, the special teams prior to this first game with Abilene Christian. Anything stand out to you?
Nothing really jumped out at me right off the bat. I guess just feel like we've been well informed, and so we kind of had an idea what we were going to see there. Mm-hmm. I don't think anything really for me jumped out. Micah
Hudson's not listed as a starter. He's listed as the backup behind Caleb Douglas, the transfer from Florida. That may surprise some folks, but I mean, it's not like he's not going to be on the field. I mean,
and the wide receiver position. Yeah, so guys are rotating in and out.
Especially at that, right? Maybe some might be surprised that Cameron Valdez is ahead of Cameron Dickey, but again, both those guys are going to get a lot of snaps as well.
Yeah, and probably has something to do with just the veteran status of Valdez.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then the tight ends position, you've got Mason Tharp listed as the starter. And then Jalen Conyers or John Carlos Miller II listed as behind him. And again, both those guys are going to get quite a bit of snaps. Maybe a little bit of the surprise there is the or with John Carlos Miller. Although Coach McGuire has talked quite a bit about Miller in the preseason and in the fall camp. So. Conyers, is going to help you, and you hope that Mason Tharp can stay healthy. That's the big. I think the big thing on him is, can he stay healthy?
Can he be productive?
And then can he be productive? I don't know what to make of the offensive line. I'd love to tell you I could break them all down for you, but I guess more than anything else, it's like, okay, you've got some oars here. You've got Caleb Rogers or Ty Buchanan at right tackle. And then you've got Davion Carter or Caleb Rogers at right guard. So you got a little bit of that. And then you got Dylan Shaw or Holton Hendricks at left guard. So
backup left guard.
Yeah, backup left guard. I guess on the surface, it just seems maybe a little unsettled there.
I think that's a decent word to use there, unsettled.
Mm-hmm. You'd like it to be rock solid and go, okay, here's your solid five starting, and here's your backups and things like that. I think they would rather have Rogers play guard than tackle, but we'll see. We'll see if somebody can step that up as far as that tackle position on the left side. Maybe on the defensive side, the big surprise might be what took place at linebacker with Amir Washington at this point in time listed as a starter over Joseph Adedire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Harvey Dyson over Isaac Smith as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Coach McGuire in his last session last week talked a lot about Dyson, and he was asked if Dyson could be a starter, and he just talked about how he was in his third year now, and the lights clicking on, and so while that's a surprise based on the comments from last week, maybe not necessarily a surprise, but again, you're going to see Isaac Smith quite a bit. They're real excited about having him back off of his injury, and then up front, I think they feel like all those guys can play. At the nose tackle spot, you got Quincy Ledet, no surprise there, due to Banks at a defensive tackle, and then you got a couple of guys behind him, and so I feel like that all those guys are going to get quite a bit of time, and they're going to have a lot of bit of rotation. They have spent a lot of time talking about his first year and the two guys that left, that aged out, having to play 760 some odd snaps, so. They've talked more than anything else about this depth on the defensive side of the football, and as a whole for this football team. And I guess the thing that excites me is we talked about this once last week, where they're listing off numerous guys that can play, but then when you look at this depth chart, you see numerous guys that are familiar.
Mm-hmm. Sure, they have a little bit of experience.
Yeah, and names that you know. So I think that's something that's very encouraging, and I think that linebacker spot looks really, really good. I mean, you got Jacob Rodriguez, who's backed up then by Bryce Ramirez, and Ben Roberts, who's backed up by the Coronado kid John Curry, and then you've got Washington, who gets the start, and Joseph Adeyere is back behind him, and then in the defensive backfield, that's where you've got some guys to replace, but then you've got these guys that have come in like Braylon Lux and C.J. Baskerville and Mo Horn, who have all kind of stepped up and had a lot of snaps for you and have had a lot of success for you. So on the surface, if you kind of look at offense and defense, well, the offense has some star power. It looks like the defense has got it looks together.
Yeah, more returners that we recognize, meaning more returners that played a bunch of snaps last year. I think you kind of revamped a lot of your offense when it comes to the wide receiver position and a little bit of the offensive line as well, so maybe not as many familiar names there.
Yeah, and so, at those receiver positions, in addition to, Caleb Douglas getting the starting spot over Micah Hudson, you've got Dre McCray, but you've got Jordan Brown right behind him, and then Coy Aiken, and then Brady Boyd right behind him. So, again, you've got some depth there and some guys, and then Josh Kelly as well.
And everything we've heard from the reports is that Caleb Douglas has outplayed Micah Hudson in these scrimmages. So. I guess that's why it's not that big of a surprise, though I'll speak for myself, feel like Micah's got the bigger ceiling, and when it all turns out, get to the end of the season, you would expect the cream to rise to the top. But I've felt like all along that Caleb Douglas was kind of the overlooked guy because of Micah Hudson, because of highly regarded Josh Kelly coming in, and it's been fun to see him play well. Yeah,
and then from a special team standpoint, still don't have a listed kicker. It's Gino Garcia or Reese Burkhart. Reese will be the kickoff guy, which is what he has been doing. Your long snapper that's back is Jackson Knotts, and he had gotten hurt in the Texas game, so it's good to have him back. He's been rehabbing. I mean, that's one of those positions where you don't really notice until something bad happens.
Right.
Yeah, and then the thing that I did not know, I'm kind of curious about this. You hope that you don't ever have to use him, but your backup holder is Baron Morton.
Well, that's not a shock, is it?
Well, it's
a quarterback.
I know, but it used to be standard that it was the quarterback. It used to be standard, but when you
quarterback or a punter usually are the holders.
Right. Punter is usually kind of what it is, and in this case, it is the punter, Jack Burgess, who's the new punter. He's the kid from Australia. But I guess I look at it, on the college side, when you've got 100-something odd players, and you have specialists like Jackson Knotts, who's just a deep snapper, and that's his job. Just seems a little, if you're having to trot Baron Morton out there, it's going to make folks uneasy.
I'm not uneasy about it. I'd rather have a quarterback out there than a punter if things break down, or to give you an option to do something.
Just that the punter spends so much time with the kicker.
I'd rather have a quarterback out there that can do something. The last thing I want to see is Jack Burgess rolling out trying to throw a desperation pass because of a bad snap or whatever.
Yeah.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hey, a couple things for you tonight. We'll have the Astros, first place Houston Astros. They play at the Philadelphia Phillies, who continue to. I think they're playing better baseball. The Phillies, they're playing better baseball after their weekend with Kansas City. They had a couple blowouts over the weekend. So we'll have that at 5:10. That'll be on Double T 97.3 tonight. The Astros and the Phillies from Philadelphia. And then tonight at 7, it's the High School Fan Zone, our premier edition of the High School Fan Zone. So you can join Randy Rosetta tonight at 7 o'clock on 100.7 The Score. And up first, will be Coronado, and then at 7:30, Estacado. So we have a new host and we have new coaches. Andrew Roy is the new head football coach at Coronado. He was the defensive coordinator last year, so he's familiar with the team and familiar with the town, and et cetera, et cetera. So he'll be on at 7 with Randy. That's Andrew Roy, and then tonight at 7:30, he too is familiar with the town. Hasn't been here in quite some time because he played football at Texas Tech, but Eric Ward, the new head coach at Estacado, will be here at 7:30. So it'll be exciting to have Coach Ward over at Estacado and getting his kids ready for the football season.
He's got a pretty talented roster he's inherited, so should be another good season for Estacado football.
I would think Coronado gets things started off with Wichita Falls Legacy. That'll be on Friday night, and that's a game that we'll have for you. So they'll be on 96.9 The Bull as Coronado plays host to Legacy over at Lowry Field. And then as far as Estacado is concerned, they're in action as well this later on this week to start off their season. Okay, couple things here from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I like that Morton is out there. It makes fake snaps less obvious whenever needed. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. We get this. Florida State crowd wouldn't tolerate Texas Tech football. Higher expectations. Oh, okay. Well, we all have expectations. We all have high expectations right now, especially with the start of the football season. So I think we're all hoping to go 12-0. Well, we all can still go 12-0. Florida State cannot.
That's true. That's a good point.
We can all go. We can all still have a shot at an undefeated season. A couple things from Tech Night on Saturday night. Coach Wes Kitley spoke, and I didn't realize this, and maybe I should have realized this, but in the history of track and field, when you look at national championships, in the 105 plus years, only 22 teams have won a national championship in track.
Okay.
So, I mean, Texas Tech, of course, is one of them. Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting little tidbit if you're looking for something to share this morning. The other thing, so that you're in the know for Saturday night, there'll be a drone show at Jones Stadium.
Cool.
I'm assuming it takes place at halftime, but I don't know. Or maybe it'll be at some point in time. You got to get to sunset, to have a drone show. So I don't know if it
would definitely be better in the dark. Yeah.
Right. Although, you can see it up there.
Last year we had one and it was after the game.
Okay, yeah. Or third quarter or something. Anyway,
was it? I was thinking it was after, but you could be right.
I think it was during. Anyway, those are really cool when those take place. So I thought that was pretty cool. The Dallas Cowboys were in action on Saturday. They're now trying to get things to get cut down. But I don't know if you saw this story or not, but the Los Angeles Chargers were their opponent. And Friday night, Justin Herbert and other players, including the wife of San Diego Hall of Famer, Pro Football Hall of Famer, and the Chargers TV analyst, Dan Fouts, were stuck in an elevator at the team hotel for 2 hours.
That's not good.
That's not good.
It's a bad deal.
How would you, do you think you could handle that well?
Depends who I was in there with.
Okay, so let's just say you were.
I think if I was in there with some calm people who, stayed calm and didn't lose their mind and had the ability to just chill a little bit and maybe not suck every single ounce of air out of the room by talking all the time, I probably would be fine. The elevator was stuck somewhere between the 3rd and 15th floors at the Westin in downtown Dallas. And apparently Jim Harbaugh, the head coach, just missed being on that elevator. Especially if you could have communication with the outside folks and them telling you, hey, we're working on it. You'll be good. Just stay calm.
They had to go up through the ceiling, and then they had another elevator car that the firefighters helped rescue them into an adjacent elevator. Before the rescue, apparently a technician tried to get it moving but could not. Mm-hmm. So, I'm just kind of assuming that maybe you wouldn't really want to be stuck with Jeff and I in an elevator.
I think that would there'd be too much of us. Too much of us.
But could you handle one of us?
It just depends on how do you act it. I mean, it could be just one person. Yeah. I mean, I'm not just talking about you two. I mean, if you were in there with somebody that was, had anxiety and was spazzing out, I think that would make you extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But if you were in there with 5 people who were calm and they were, hey, let's relax here, I think I could handle it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think we could handle it.
Who knows? I might be the one that would
I don't think so.
Deal with anxiety and freak out.
I'm just saying I can take a nap anywhere.
Yeah. No, I feel you, Jeff. Yeah. Yeah.
Lindale Jeff says this: I drink so much water I'd never make it 2 hours. I had that thought too, Lindale Jeff. Absolutely.
You have to establish that corner early.
Or at least maybe you went shopping before. And anyway, 6:40 this morning here on the Morning Drive.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
With Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. We'll have the high school fan zone tonight at 7 with the new Coronado coach, Andrew Roy, who's 0-0. Okay, so he gets to come in and have a nice, fresh, clean start of things.
You mean a brand new coach doesn't have a record yet?
Yeah, he was.
Whoa!
And this.
What's next?
He was the defensive coordinator last year for DJ Mann, who's moved on. They'll play Legacy on Friday night at home at Lowry Field. We'll have it for you on Friday night. On 96.9 The Bull as they take on Legacy out of Wichita Falls. So that'll be about 6:45 on Friday night as we get the high school football season underway. And then Estacado, their first opponent will be Jim Ned, and that game will be on Thursday, August the 29th, as they take on Jim Ned over at Lowry Field. And we'll have new coach Eric Ward on tonight, and he'll be on at 7:30 on the high school fan zone on 100.7 The Score. So tomorrow night, coaches from Monterey and Lubbock High, and then Wednesday night, coaches from Friendship, Cooper, and Liberty, which will start football this season. Okay, so that's your lineup tonight. We'll have baseball tonight, the Astros and the Phillies from Philadelphia. Have you ever been to Philadelphia?
I have never.
I haven't either. That's a place that I would like to go as well someday. Whether it's just to see if you go to Philadelphia, you got to go see the Liberty Bell, right? Independence Hall and all that kind of stuff.
I'd go to see Rocky before I went to see that.
Okay, but you've got to see Rocky too. Would you run up the stairs?
Sure, I would.
Okay.
Sure, I would.
Okay.
That's a lot of stairs.
That's a lot.
It doesn't look like that many.
It's a lot of stairs.
Would you hold your hands up?
Yes. Well,
yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, right. Would you take a selfie?
I wouldn't be able. I'd be going. I would not be up. I would definitely be down.
Would you take a selfie?
Probably not. I'd have somebody take a picture of me.
Okay. Yeah.
Next to the statue.
Would you send it to me as well then?
Yes.
Would you do that?
I would.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You then realize that he would have to put it on his Facebook page.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. Put it on mine.
You would put it on, hey, look at the picture I just got from Jamie.
No, I wouldn't do that. I don't do that from other people. Just do that for my own stuff. For my own stuff. I mean, I don't want to steal his thunder.
I think my wife put pictures of the family on Facebook this weekend. We did for the first time in my life, I did a color run.
Oh yeah, those are
I've
fun.
I've never been that dirty in my whole entire life. It was pretty shocking. It was a lot of fun. It was a blast. I had no idea that I
they
knew
were gonna
there'd
throw
be
things at you?
Well, I knew there would be some of that, but I have pinks and blues and reds and parts of my body, and that I still have not changed back to normal colors.
Did you let everybody get in your car after that was over with?
Shockingly, I did.
Okay.
I never understood why you'd want to do that. Like,
it made it
forth
fun.
and go have fun with the run. Like,
It made it fun, and it was also for a great cause for Team Luke Hope for Mine. So it was
awesome.
a fundraiser.
And I'm not telling anybody not to do it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Well, it's a kind of new way of doing
It's just
something.
like doing a mutter run, right? Or in a mutter run, you actually have to climb or crawl through mud.
Yeah.
I've done those before, just for fun. Just for fun. I don't like to be dirty.
I know.
And so that's why it was surprising that I enjoyed this much. It was a great time.
Did you know that going into it?
I had an idea that there would be some of that. I didn't know that I was going to come home with a purple head.
If you had known that you were coming home with a purple head, would you have opted out?
Probably not.
Okay.
No. Again, it was for a good cause. So.
If it had been maroon, would you have opted out?
Maybe so.
Okay.
I would have worn a bag over my head or something.
And everybody participated, huh?
Everybody in the family and the boyfriend and some LCU tennis players joined us.
Wow.
And an LCU tennis coach joined us. So we had a good group of us.
Yeah.
But not Winfield.
We did not take Winfield. We did not want him coming back looking like a rainbow.
I see your picture now. Yeah, you've got quite a bit of colors on there. Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody says this: they moved Rocky to the bottom of the stairs. That would be disappointing.
That is extremely disappointing.
Why would they do that?
I would still run to the top with my arms up.
Yeah, that seems like they've just acquiesced to the weaker people of society.
My daughter took her picture with him this summer.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, Keith Patterson, who is the head coach of Abilene Christian, his team will be coming in on Saturday to take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Our Optimum Game Day Live coverage begins at 7 a.m. We'll take you all the way up to the kick at 6:30. And Coach Patterson was on Thetford and Ashby on Saturday morning, and he had this to say with regard to him and Abilene Christian about what it means to play Texas Tech in Week 1.
And I know this sounds coach speak, but really going into game one, we have really put a tremendous amount of focus on us, obviously, which is what we always do. But what a tremendous opportunity for our football team. I mean, you got, number one, you're getting to play a top tier Big 12 football program. Right, it's two and a half hours up the street here. I have 6 starters on offense that started their career at Texas Tech. I have Isaiah Johnson is a running back for me, played at Cooper. Nehemiah Martinez from Cooper. Isaiah Kelly starts for me on defense, played right there at Levitt Coronado. So I'm excited for those young men to be able to go home, per se, and to be able to play in front of family and friends. We have nothing but respect for Joey and what they've done with that football program. And, man, I just want our guys to show up and compete. And in 2 years, we've lost 5 games by 1 point, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, and 7 points. So I want to see our guys continue to build and win games when circumstances get hard. That's been just getting over the hump. If we win those games, we're 17-5 in 2 years. We're moving in the right direction. To me, it's just I want to see where we've been. I mean, we're at Missouri year one, and it's 20-10 midway through the third quarter, and we're driving the ball, and we fumble. Last year against A&M in the fourth quarter, it's 24-10. We have a chance to block a punt, and we don't. So I just want to see our guys go compete and have fun playing the game that they love to play.
You start listing all that off, it starts to make me nervous.
Yeah. I always liked Coach Patterson when he was here. Seems like a really good guy. So I'm glad that he's having some success there, and I hope it doesn't go well for him on Saturday.
Right. He understands that.
I hope he has a great week, too.
Yes, I hope he dominates it.
I did not know that Nehemiah Martinez ended up at Abilene Christian.
Did not either.
So that was some news for me. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I think obviously they're coming in to to win. That's their game planning, just like Joey McGuire and his team are game planning over at Texas Tech, and you can't look down to your opponent. You can't get caught up in all the hoorah that's going to take place. With regard to the south end zone and new place to run out of, and horse that hopefully will run the full length of the field and all those things, and you hear how loud it's going to be, and you hope it's loud for you, and hope that you don't need a field goal to win it at the end, because you're right now a little unsettled at that spot. So that would be really disappointing if it came down to those things. So at any rate, that was Keith Patterson, who was formerly the defensive coordinator, and like Jamie said, I think all in all, everybody enjoyed Coach Patterson and his time here. And I mean, he had good defenses at times, and at times the offense just wasn't good enough to catch up to the defense. So that's part of what transpired there. At any rate,
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
I'm guessing it's not going to be the Kansas Lindenwood game. To see the early line there?
No, what is it?
It's like 43.5.
They will not cover that.
I thought there was like a limit on how big the line could be. I didn't think it could even be
But they
that
could take it off the board.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But I don't think they'll cover 43.
Okay.
I'm thinking of Tech's schedule and trying to figure out what the trap game is.
Well, and like I said, you may not agree with it. We'll get to it, but you may not agree with it.
Okay, we're in the week of final predictions.
Okay.
All right, so we've made predictions before, but we're going to make them again.
All right, bullfighter, pay attention.
All right, so I would like for you gentlemen to answer 2 questions for me today.
Okay.
All right, and somebody, if they want to write them down, Jeff or Chuck or bullfighter, they can
keeping track.
keep track. Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to give me Tech's final regular season prediction. And I want you to tell me who plays in the Big 12 championship game and who wins.
Oh, that's the second.
So 2 things that really don't tie together. They could, possibly.
Okay. Okay. My final prediction, despite the fact that I got jacked up at kickoff luncheon, beat the Red Raiders, and Tech Night. All 3 things coming to forefront from last week. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna stick with my 9-3 prediction that I made on March the 29th.
Okay. I almost wish we weren't keeping track, like publicly, and that we had kept track privately to see how much the subject being watched changed the outcome of the test.
I think 9-3 is pretty aggressive.
I didn't say it wasn't. I just wonder how much it would have changed if Chuck didn't know we were writing things down.
No, I wouldn't have gone to 10. I wouldn't have gone to 10.
All right, who you got in the Big 12 championship game?
I'm going to put Oklahoma State and Utah.
And who wins?
Oklahoma State.
Okay.
I have Tech at 8-4. I have Tech taking. I have Utah taking on Kansas State, with Kansas State winning the Big 12.
All right. I'm going to be way different than Jeff. I'm going to pick the Red Raiders to finish 8-4. I'm going to have the Purple Wildcats facing Utah in the championship game, and I'm going to have K-State coming away with a Big 12 title.
So you had Utah winning?
No.
Oh, you had K-State.
He had the same exact
That's what I thought.
Same exact thing.
When you said that you were going to be different.
I just used different names.
I gotcha.
He said Tech, I said Red Raiders.
Gotcha.
He said K-State, I said Purple Wildcats.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so you 2 guys are at 8-4 and both have K-State winning the Big 12 championship.
Okay, who are your 3 losses, Chuck?
My 3 losses are Arizona, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State.
Jeff, who have you? Are those your 3 plus who?
It's 3 plus. Hang on, I got to make sure I'm getting the right one here. I don't know which of the group in that Baylor, TCU, Iowa State stretch that I don't know that you go 2 wins there. I don't know that you don't win 3 there, though. I don't know enough about this team yet to feel confident in all 3 of those games that you're going to get all 3 of them. If that makes sense. I don't know. I've been struggling with this all since the schedule came out. I do not like that 3-game stretch, at all. And
Baylor at home, Kansas State TCU on the road, and Iowa State on the road.
Yeah, that 3-game stretch there, and I don't have any justification for it. Baylor's gonna be terrible. TCU has taken a giant step back from 2 years ago, and TCU is a home game when we're there. I don't know why. It just that 3-game stretch there scares the heebie-jeebies out of me.
I think you should be 9-3. I think I'm leaving extra loss on the table, as most teams usually drop one that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I'm calling the TCU game that game.
Okay.
So that's my 4th. It feels like you're going to win the games you're favored, most of which are at home. You're going to fall in the games where you're not favored, most of which are on the road. And that TCU one is a toss-up game that's not going to go your way because it's on the road. I think West Virginia at home may be a toss-up game too, but I think that one goes your way.
Okay.
I feel like you owe West Virginia one, and maybe that's why I'm overconfident in that one. Because you shouldn't have played as badly as you did against them last year.
Don't even get me going on that.
Pepsi Man has Texas Tech 10-2 in the Big 12 champ over Utah.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so who are the 2 losses?
We're all in on. So did you decide finally who your loss was going to?
I don't know. It's that 3-game stretch there. I could see you going.
Are you in the same boat, or do you have a 4th declared loss, Jamie?
Yeah, I just told you it was TCU.
TCU. Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm on the same page as you.
Yeah.
Do you know I know you know this. Do you know the last 8-win regular season for the Red Raiders?
7?
No.
When?
2009. That year you beat North Dakota 38-13. You beat Rice 55-10 opening 2 weeks. That's the year that you lost to Houston.
Ruined a pair of shoes that day.
Because you were mad, or because you were just...
Was that the game at Rice?
It was at Robertson Stadium. It was at Houston.
Yeah.
29-28.
I don't know. The bleachers in front of me, there was something on the back of them, and the top of my shoes, I guess I would lift my foot and it would scrape against the back. And by the time, halfway through the first quarter, I looked down, I had 2 black marks right across the top of a pair of white shoes. Drove me nuts. Couldn't get them. They were never the same.
So you had those 2, that loss, and then you lost to A&M in Lubbock, 52-30. That was a very disappointing game, and lost it at Texas that year by 10, and then the loss to Oklahoma State in Stillwater by a touchdown, 24-17.
The A&M game, wasn't that the fat little girlfriend's game?
I believe so. Yeah. And came back the next week and beat Kansas here at home 42-21.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thanks for being with us with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. We come to you this morning from the First United Bank studio. Take your thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that, or the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too, 806-771-0973. Okay, Dallas Cowboys, they, along with the other teams, have to get down to 53 before the first football game. There'll be a lot of posturing. So just because, if you're the 53rd man on the Cowboys roster right now, it ain't the time to be buying a house or renting an apartment just yet.
Probably not.
Just kind of slow the roll there. There is a thought that Trey Lance is going to make that 53-man roster. One, they owe him a lot of money. Two, they gave up a lot for him. But he threw not 3, not 4, but 5 interceptions Saturday against the Chargers.
5. Wow.
After the game,
impressive.
Coach Mike McCarthy said this: he continually gets better every time you give him a chance. I think that says a lot about him. He's a young guy that just needs to play. I think he'll play in this league for a long time. They're paying him $5 million guaranteed this year. So they probably cannot let him just go. But man, does it make you feel like, oh, hey, we can just let Dak go because we got our next guy right here, Trey Lance. He's our quarterback of the future. I mean, this is not anything like what New England's got or other teams have got.
Well, in that case, I don't think anybody's going to have to wear shades.
No.
That means the future's not that bright.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Right. I knew there was some kind of context there for that, but I wasn't going to get the whole thing. Cooper Rush is probably not going to have to worry about he's going to be the number 2 quarterback.
Looks that way.
He probably went, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. The other thing that
sounds like Trey Lance was given the opportunity to win that job and failed in getting that done.
Right. And
he also was given the opportunity to lose that job as the backup quarterback, and it looks like he did. So he was at least successful in that.
Yeah. The thing that was puzzling to me yesterday, because, look, this will probably come as no surprise to you. I didn't watch a great deal of the Cowboy game on Saturday because I had Meet the Red Raiders, had stuff going, had Tech Night, and so the Cowboy game kind of fell at an awkward time for me. But I love watching the last exhibition game of the year. In fact, last night we watched almost all of the Sunday night game with Washington and New England. And part of it is because you have guys that are playing for their jobs and they're playing for a roster spot, I think it's football in the most truest fashion that I knew growing up as a kid, because they're playing with wild, reckless abandon. And so I think sometimes the hits are a little bit harder. I think sometimes the play can be awful, okay? And there were a lot of flags thrown last night. But there were some spectacular plays that were made last night by both teams. And I wanted to see Coach Kingsbury's offense, and his quarterback was okay. The New England kid was much better. Although Jacoby Brissett, the guy that's the number 1 starter right now for them, he went down with a shoulder injury. And I got to tell you, when he went down, they talked about his right shoulder, but then his left shoulder is the one that hits the ground, and his right shoulder is one guy landed on, and that's the one he went out with. And I was thinking when he went out, I was like, oh, man, that looks like a collarbone to me. Because we've seen so much of that here, right? It's like I kept waiting for him later on this season, later on the broadcast, to go, Jacoby Brissett, he's knocked out of the game earlier, and he's got a broken collarbone. He'll be out 6 to 8 weeks, because that's what we saw here, or even for the year with collarbones. I mean, especially with what we have experienced. Anyway, the other thing that kind of puzzled me was, so I'm looking. I want to see, okay, well, how's Terrence Steele doing? Because he had that knee injury last year, and he was not listed as a starter on the offensive line at that right tackle spot. And so I looked for an article on Terrence Steele, and I found one, and this was dated August the 21st by Nick Eatman from DallasCowboys.com, and he quotes Mike McCarthy as saying this about Terrence Steele: I think he had his best camp as a Dallas Cowboy. You can just see the things he continues to work on.
That's good.
Yeah. And then later, apparently the media got a chance to talk to Terrence, and he said, yeah, definitely. It's my 5th year now, and every year is supposed to get better and better and better. It just feels like I'm growing under this process. I definitely feel like it's my best camp for sure. Last year he was previously coming off of a torn ACL that he had suffered the previous December. He admits he didn't have his best season last year, but says, I was 6 months removed from surgery. He said, last year I had some ups and downs, but who doesn't coming back from an injury as fast as I did? People my size usually don't come back that fast. I'm proud of myself for what I did. I didn't miss a snap and didn't miss a practice. And he's expecting an even better season, but he's not listed as a starter. So that means they either got a little bit deeper or they're going to kind of use him in a rotation. So he says he feels awesome. He feels 100%. His knee doesn't bother him. He's happy to be healthy, and obviously he's got a fat bank account because he signed for an awful lot of money. So
good for him.
I was kind of worried about him when I saw that he wasn't listed in the starting lineup, but apparently he's okay.
Doing well. So
in that game, Jalen Polk was in that game last night for the New England Patriots. He caught a ball. I'm like, well, that's cool. I said to the lucky lady, I said, he used to play here, but then he transferred, went to Washington. And then Monte Rager's boy was in there as a returner, Jalen. I'm like, yeah, there's another miss. But then I got to thinking about all the guys that we have in the NFL from Texas Tech and going, man, for the number of players that we seem to have, sure feels like that maybe things should have gone better for us over the last 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, when you had some really good offenses, you didn't have much on defense.
Right, and then there's a lot of defensive guys too that are that have
feels
made
like
it.
Of late there've been more on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. So I mean, I was thinking like, man, for all the defensive guys that we have, what's maybe it's just been the constant churn and not having enough continuity over the years to give your talent a chance to develop. But you got to win games too, and when you haven't won 8 games since 2009, that's pretty telling in terms of the regular season.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.